8 years is crazy. It's crazy to be able to say that we've been doing Broadway Sessions for 8 years, especially considering that it's a weekly show. That is hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of shows. Each one of them a little bit different, each one of them very special, each one of them a complete pain in my ass. First of all, I can't even really wrap my brain around what 8 years actually means. The fact that something that we have been doing and knowing how much love and heart we pour into it, the fact that people have come to this and walked into our weird theater geek basements every week for 8 years and we're still allowed to do this it boggles my mind. And it certainly makes the gay 13-year-old theater geek inside of me want to jump rope and have a lollipop or something. We're nothing if not all, at the end of the day, theater geeks. And what we can do is we can come down into this basement of 120 seats and we can leave the world behind and we can geek out together. And that's the thing I love the very most. I say sometimes that it's like we're all the 13-year-old theater geek kids that we were in our bedroom singing to our cast albums into our hairbrushes and learning the choreography to the Jellicle Ball, except that we're adults now and there's a bar and it's so very accepted and celebrated in our room, and that's super, super important to me. I left Wicked and I went on tour with Sweet Charity. And when I got back from Charity, I started auditioning and realized that the spark for me had kind of died. I had done it. I had danced and sung as much as I think I was going to. But I needed a creative outlet, and there was some part of me that felt very, very alive and very creatively charged. And I didn't know what that outlet was, and I eventually found there was a little gay bar on 109th Street that was called Sweet, that I ended up going to them and talking to the managers there and saying, hey, I've got this idea for a show. And at the time, we tried it out once, and it was called The Bendy Show. And so they let us do it. So our first ever The Bendy Show happened in a tiny, tiny little stage, and I remember that Titus Burgess was our very first guest. Titus Burgess and Katie Thompson were our first guest, and we kind of played with the idea of doing some interviews, and this is before a lot of this kind of late night Broadway celebration stuff ever happened, is the honest truth here. So we did the Bendy Show, that went so well. We did a couple of them, we did them once every 3 weeks or something, and then the people at Therapy heard about us. Therapy at the bar on 52nd Street, and I took a meeting with them, and that's when the name Broadway Sessions came up, and they offered me a weekly show on Tuesdays, and Broadway Sessions was born. They made a sign, which I thought was the coolest thing I'd ever seen in my entire life, that I had a sign behind me. It felt so legitimate, and off we went. So we did that for 2.5 years, and after 2.5 years in the bar scene, we have our people on stage performing and doing these amazing things. We'd be playing crazy games with the audience, but it's a bar. So in reality, half the audience came to watch the show, and half the people who were on the back past the staircase in Therapy were there to drink and get laid. And so they didn't give a flying fire truck about what was happening on that stage or who the incredible people that I brought in, whether that was Orfeh or Julia Murney or these incredible recording artists or any number of the people that we were, Billy Porter, Shoshana Bean, any of these people that we were able to feature when we were in Therapy, they would be singing up there, and there would just be this crazy noise coming from the back. And it's the bar, so you kind of get used to that. Eventually, anyway, they pulled the plug on the show after 2.5 years, and I wasn't done with it. And so I found, through the help of some friends, we found the Midtown Theater, which is a giant theater space right in Times Square, right on 46th Street, right below the Actors Equity Association building, which I think is very funny for some reason. And we started doing the show there, and we were there for 1.5 years and kind of upped our game. People were still coming in, and then that place was closing, and I said, all right, I had always I'd subbed some shows at the Laurie Beechman, and I always loved the Beechman. And when I heard, within a day of hearing that the Midtown Theater inside the Hawk Comedy Club was closing, I scheduled a meeting with Kenny Bell at the Beechman. So at that stage of the game, we had already been starting to donate to Broadway Cares every week. And I said, let's do it. So we added a $5 cover charge. And the show has really blossomed since being at the Beechman, taking it out of a bar scene where it's still very fresh and alive and celebratory and zany, and there's a social element to it, but it's taken on a greater meaning as a show and as an experience since we've been at the Beechman, which has been incredible. So it all really, long story short, kind of stemmed out of, like any artist, me saying to myself, what do I know? What do I love? And what can I make out of those things? And that was my love for these people that I've worked with over the course of a decade, and alcohol. That's a great word. Just to have a home, and it is our home. It is our home. The Beechman has been unbelievably supportive, and I have the greatest love for the Beechman and the role that it plays in the community. The Beechman has been there a long time. The Beechman shows up in a way that I think other venues are not able to do. I think the Beechman also is able to provide people with a unique experience that will not break the bank in a way that some other basements may break your bank. So Kenny Bell has become a dear friend. The Laurie Beechman staff is so welcoming. They're there for you. They've allowed us to provide incredible drink specials, so you can come in and get a really nice, strong, delicious $5 cocktail to really stretch your dollar while you're with us. The food is incredible. The sound system is top-notch. The lighting, all of the things that the Beechman provides would have allowed us to take it to the next level and provide a great experience for the people who watch our videos all over the world on BroadwayWorld.com or on our YouTube channel. Or actually are able to come sit with us in the room. The experience is so great because we can have it in the Beechman. All of it, from the shape of the room, the way the sound is, the light. So I always laugh about the world famous Broadway Sessions sign that so many people know about, and I've even had people say to me, I'm coming to your show because I'm getting a video of myself singing in front of that sign. And if you get up close to the sign, it is such a raggedy ass piece of shit. It's held together by a couple strands of tape. I think there's some twine involved, and I'm not sure why there would be twine involved, but it looks horrible. The second you put those lights on it and hang it the way they do at the Beechman, it looks like it's popping out of the screen. It looks like it's actual lights. It is. And that's all due to the great production quality that we get at the Beechman and the sound that they provide us. We love them. We're so lucky to be in such a super professional venue. The truth of the matter is, this is a labor of love, and it always has been. It's my baby, and I feel a great responsibility to the people that I bring into my room and into my experience, and I want them to feel supported and loved and important, and part of that is making sure they have an audience there. So, truth be told, the self-promotion that goes into it, or the promotion in general that goes into making sure that people are in that room every week, is a huge undertaking. I'm one man with a Facebook page and a very meager Twitter following, trying to get the word out of this incredibly special thing that we have going on. And so that I have to cross all my T's and dot all my I's, and that involves hours every week on social media. But it's like any small business owner, it's you, there's no secret production team behind this besides me. So I don't think that people really even understand the amount of work that goes into putting a Broadway Sessions together. And I talk to friends who produce an event or who build up to one show, and I look at them and I go, I am producing and planning and scheduling and booking an infinite number of shows in perpetuity at all times. So it's really time consuming. I don't think that people understand that. I think people go, all right, you get the people, you bring them into the room, and we tell some dick jokes, and away we go, and then we're all theater geeks. But, so Promotion is a huge part of what takes up my time. Also catering the show and making each show specific to who I have there. And as we've kind of moved into doing these celebrations of either casts of Broadway shows or these school groups from these incredible theater schools from all over the country, I make the content surrounding the performances specific to the group and who's in the room that night. And that involves games, specific interviews. I do my research on all of my guests, so I know things about them that freak them out on stage, because let's be honest, if I'm freaking them out on stage, I'm doing my job. And furthermore, I think that in show business, and in Broadway especially, Broadway being the legitimate theater, I think that it's very easy for people, when they think of Broadway, to think of it in very stuffy terms, to think of it in a very inside the actor studio kind of way. And what I know about the Broadway community from my years in the Broadway community is just how wild and wacky and nutty these people are, and that there's an entire community that bubbles and crackles and fizzes after hours. You know, if our 5 o'clock at night, getting off of work is 11 p.m. So it's amazing what all these artists do between that and bedtime, which could be 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning or later. You know, so trying to keep it edgy and keep it a little dangerous and a little zany, but most importantly, making it about the people who have donated the time and talent to be in our room. So each show is different. I plot out each show. I make sure the sound is right for each show. I make sure that the music that we play is specific to each show, and that we have a specific experience for every show. Joshua Stephen Kartes is a crazy, freakish, brilliant, savant, maniac man. I've never worked with a musician like Joshua Stephen Kartes in my life, and Joshua and I always kind of laugh about, every once in a while, if we've had 2 smart whiskeys after the show, we oftentimes try to figure out how long we've been working together, since when did we start working together, and how did we meet? And we have absolutely no idea. But I do know that we started working together when we added open mic at the Hall Comedy Club. I would have Josh come in to play the open mic portion of the show, after the show, and he has been a godsend. I mean, even I, to this day, 8 years later, listen to him play, and so often without sheet music, and with such passion, and it's like hearing a 90-piece orchestra, and every week I find myself just pointing at the piano and going, what the fuck? That's crazy. And it's such a huge part of the show. Our partnership with Broadway Cares Equity Fights AIDS also began when we moved from the Therapy Bar to the Midtown Theater, and we kind of became self-produced at that stage of the game, exclusively self-produced. And so I'd known a bunch of people at Broadway Cares for years. A lot of people who worked there had come to the show at Therapy for years and had been friends from the time that I was in Wicked. And I reached out to them and I said, how can we partner up with you guys? Because they do represent what is best about the Broadway community. And if we're going to celebrate the Broadway community, we're going to celebrate the Broadway community with Broadway Cares, which is the heart of that community. So over the course of the years that we have since we started, we've been able to donate thousands and thousands of dollars to Broadway Cares Equity Fights AIDS, which feels incredibly special and feels really important. And I've had the opportunity now to give back a little bit and host events for Broadway Cares at the flea market and things like that. But we love them. We love Broadway Cares. People who come every week are crazy. They're my family. They're my family. The relationships that form in that room because of what we're doing and because the walls that we allow ourselves to break down by getting up on stage in front of each other, playing these ridiculous, fun, zany games, learning about each other, with our rising stars, getting to know a new artist every single week, as well as Broadway professionals, getting to see and nurture these up-and-coming college kids, and to get people, our regulars, a lot of whom are auditioning from 9 o'clock in the morning on and working day jobs and survival jobs and getting turned down for jobs, and they get to come on Thursday night and know that they're going to laugh and feel good about themselves and about this community. It's a crazy cast of characters. If we didn't have Anthony Fett and Josh Bartier and Amari Hardin and Meg McWhorter and Dylan Adams and Joseph Strickland and Kelly Higgins and Julie Volk and Lauren Herndon and Devin Yates and all these people that have made such. They come every week. They come every week, and that means the world to me. We all get to touch base and we all get to celebrate each other. That Matt Hui comes all the time and Victoria Orden, and these are my friends, and I never want anyone to feel anything less than that. If you do me the service of walking in to my room, which is my world and my crazy Broadway love-in wackadoodle room, you're my friend for doing that, because that's the kindest thing you can do, and our regulars are our lifeblood. Come be a regular. Well, I've talked a little bit about our Rising Star series, which has been incredibly cool. We kind of really made it official within the last year and a half, where we have a Rising Star each week, and it's been amazing to watch some of these Rising Stars that we have, who I find in any number of ways. They submit to us, or I've seen them at another concert event, or they come through the college programs, and I remember them, and I bring them in, and Julian Decker went in to be in Les Miserables. F. Michael Haney has been in like 1 million Broadway shows now. Nicole Turner was in The Book of Mormon on Broadway. We've featured vocalists who have gone on to star in Glee, and it's nuts. And I'll tell you what, so many of the college kids that have come through have some of their first performance experiences in New York City were with us at Broadway Sessions, and to watch them go on and make their Broadway debuts and be able to come back to us as headliners with their Broadway shows is amazing. We had the other night we had the Color Purple cast, which was one of the most spectacular nights we've had in an 8-year history. There's really no way around it. It was a really special night. And there was one gentleman, Jay Daughtry, who reminded me that he had come a few years back to Broadway Sessions, and I had convinced him that night to get up and sing some open mic, and he did, and of course his voice was mind-boggling, and I pulled him aside, and I said, you have to move to New York City. This gentleman has been able to come back to Broadway Sessions now, and took a moment on stage to say that being in our room and being at Sessions was one of the moments that he went, oh, maybe I really can do this, and now look at his career. And you can't imagine how much that warms my heart, how crazy cool that is. And we've had 1 million of those things, to hear Julian or Max Sherman or some of these incredible Broadway talents and staples on the Broadway stage now, and veterans who are able to stand on our stage and say, hey, the first time I got to New York City, I got to come and sing here, and it made me feel good about being here and helped me get to where I am. Well, we're only here because of the community. So the community and the family that we have built is a byproduct of the wonders of the Broadway community, certainly. But we have built an incredibly special family that involves most of the Broadway community. There's very few people you'll find in Broadway shows who haven't been in or been in the room or on our stage. But that's just the truth at this stage of the game. The YouTube channel has completely blown my mind. Millions upon millions of views. The videos have become a signature thing that people look for. BroadwayWorld.com wrote to us saying that they just started watching our YouTube videos one day and said this is what we need, and now we're a front page article on Broadway World all over the world once a week. Once a week. It's a huge feature, which is very, very cool. I think it's how much I love this. It's my favorite thing I've ever done. I love people, and I love music, and I love the theater, and I love being strange with other people, and I think that other people relate to that. And I always love when we have, every once in a while I'll look into the audience and I'll say, I don't know that person, and I'll ask them, and they're from Norway or San Antonio, Texas the other night, or we'll get a bunch of preteens from Kansas City, or we get a bunch of people from Japan or Australia, or it's amazing the reach that it has. And social media is nuts with that. And I've been lucky enough to have some people that have helped me out with that. And you know, I'm not a young person who understands all of that so particularly well. So building this and getting the response and the support from the community has been incredible. And the fact that we're here at 8 years and are at the top of our game. I mean, we're showing no signs of slowing. We're growing and growing and growing. And look out. Well, the fact that they can watch us now live on social media, on Periscope and on Facebook Live, be a part of the community, because I know, being from Orem, Utah, how far away that community seemed. And if I can be a part of being your buddy and being your Broadway buddy and bringing you closer to this community, that's exactly what I want to do. So if you're able to watch from wherever you are, talk to us. You'll never find a friendlier group of people in the world, I promise you that. And I say to them, watch and I've gotten some incredible messages from people that I don't even know, who write me from all over the world, who just from watching us online are being affected. Oh! When I did my first cabaret show many moons ago, maybe this was like 2005, and I was doing Wicked, and I just needed an outlet. I needed something to do, and I did a cabaret show, and I started searching for music. But I have always been obsessed, that's the only way to put it, with the Golden Girls. I remember watching it as a kid when it was on Saturday nights on network television. Because in Utah, it's not like I went out on Saturday nights and went partying with my friends, that's for sure. It was the Golden Girls and me, and I have always had them with me. It only seemed fitting that I close every show with that song. We developed this tradition a ways back, and now we do it at every Broadway Session show. After the show proper, we always go into open mic and open the microphone up to the people in the room and give those people an opportunity to get up and be the star. And I think there's something that is so unifying, that just puts us all on a really even playing field when we take the stage together at the end of every night to sing Seasons of Love to an empty room. There's nobody that we're performing for. We're doing it for us. We're doing it for the love of the music and each other, and it doesn't matter who's in the audience. And so if you remove the audience altogether, that feeling is so special. It's a beautiful thing every night, and you have to be in the room and you have to be on the stage to express it. I stand there and I look in the eyes of every person who's on that stage, and we connect with each other, and it's one of the most beautiful songs ever written, and it's about us, and it has nothing to do with singing pretty for that audience. It's about being part of each other's lives in that moment. In the coming year, Broadway Sessions is getting bigger, bolder. We're casting our net wider. We have more cast interested in coming to see us. We have more support from the Broadway community than ever before. I have more tricks up my sleeve than you can possibly imagine. Broadway Sessions is expanding. Once again, we have new web series coming out that you look for later in the summer. Broadway Con is coming back up in January. If it's happening in the Broadway community, we are a part of it, and it won't be long before you find us, or we'll find you. But spread the word. Tell your friends. Follow us on social media. So you can find us at Broadway Sessions each and every Thursday night at the Laurie Beechman Theater, which is on 42nd and 9th, right in Times Square. We're in the basement of the West Bank Cafe. We open doors at 10 p.m. for pre-show. You can order up dinner, order up a cocktail. We move into our pre-show singing for shots open mic challenge. The show starts at 11 and open mic follows the show to the end each and every single Thursday night. And once a month, all open mic night, which is really, really fun and special. It's really, really special. So that's where you can find us, and I hope that people do. I hope that people continue to come and discover us. I think that there is absolutely nothing like it in New York City. There's no other way to get this close to the incredible people that make Broadway tick. If you're not in New York City, we still want you to be a part of the Broadway Sessions family. You can find us on Facebook Live. Just check us out at our page, Broadway Sessions. Find us on social media at BWay Sessions, both on Twitter and Instagram. You can follow me directly at Ben Does Broadway, or you can find us on Periscope through the Laurie Beechman Theater. You can also check out our friends at Broadway Cares Equity Fight Sage. They know where we are. And you can watch the show each and every week on our live feed, and you can certainly check out the super polished and professional BroadwayWorld.com feature each and every Monday afternoon on BroadwayWorld.com. So check us out, write to us, we want to talk to you. You can always make a reservation by going to www.westbankcafe.com. You don't have to put any money down, we take the money at the door, that way we can make sure to donate to Broadway Cares much more efficiently. And we hope to see everybody really soon at Broadway Sessions. Come see what all the buzz is about. You guys, 8 years of Broadway Sessions. I can't even wrap my sweet little gay brain around it, but it means the world. And as long as people are willing to walk in that door and walk down those stairs and walk into that beautiful basement and be willing to show the freaky little theater monsters they are, we'll do what we're doing. So all I can say to everybody who's graced our stage and supported us and laughed and loved and sang is thank you so much from the bottom of my heart, and I can't wait to play with you more and more and more. Thank you. We love you very much.